It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. The white dress, the flowers, the music, everything was perfect. Until it wasn't. As the church bells rang across the city, a young woman in a wedding gown ran through the rain, mascara streaking down her cheeks, bouquet crushed in her trembling hand. She didn't know where she was going, she just knew she had to get away. That's when a yellow taxi slowed beside her, window rolling down. Inside sat a middle-aged driver with kind, tired eyes. "You okay, miss?" he asked. She hesitated, then opened the door. And from that moment on, her story and his would never be the same. Before we begin, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? I love knowing how far these stories travel. Now, let's go back to that rainy afternoon, when a runaway bride got into the wrong cab, or maybe the right one. His name was Raj Malik, a taxi driver who'd been driving the same streets for 20 years. Widowed, quiet, and kind, he'd learned to read people by their silence. And when that bride stepped into his back seat, soaking wet and shaking, he didn't ask questions right away. He just handed her a tissue and started driving. "Where to?" he asked gently. She looked out the window, tears catching the city lights. "Anywhere but here," she whispered. Raj nodded, flicked on the meter, and pulled into the rain. For a while, they said nothing, just the sound of rain on glass and the soft hum of the engine. Finally, Raj spoke. "You running from something or to something?" The bride gave a weak laugh. "Maybe both." He smiled in the mirror. "That's fair." Her name was Claire, and she told him everything. How her fiancé had been unfaithful, how everyone knew it but no one told her, how she'd found out just before the ceremony. "I was standing there, about to say I do, when I saw a text on his phone," she said, voice breaking. "I just ran." Raj nodded slowly. "Sometimes walking away is braver than staying." She looked up at him. "You sound like you've been there." He chuckled. "Once, long time ago. My wife used to say, love isn't about finding someone perfect. It's about finding someone who stays when everything else falls apart." She smiled sadly. "She sounds wise." "She was," Raj said quietly. "Cancer took her 10 years ago. She still rides with me, though. Front seat, always." They drove until the rain slowed and the city lights softened into the distance. "Where are we going?" Claire finally asked. Raj smiled. "Someplace peaceful." 20 minutes later, the taxi stopped at the edge of a small hill overlooking the city. The skyline glowed beneath the clouds, soft, golden, alive. Claire stepped out, her white gown brushing against the wet grass. The cool wind tugged gently at her veil. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Raj nodded. "I come here sometimes. Helps me remember that life keeps moving, even when we can't." They stood in silence for a while, the city lights flickering below them. Claire turned to him, tears in her eyes, but a small smile on her lips. "You're the first person today who didn't make me feel broken." "That's because you're not. You're just at the start of your next chapter." She took a deep breath, closing her eyes. "I don't even know where to go now." He thought for a moment. "I know a place, safe, warm, quiet. My sister runs a little cafe. You can stay there until you figure things out." She hesitated. "Why would you do that for me?" "Because someone did the same for me once," Raj said simply. He drove her across town to a cozy cafe on a quiet street. The sign read, "Anaya's Place." Inside, it smelled of cinnamon and rain. Raj's sister, a gentle woman in her 50s, greeted them with a smile. "Another lost soul?" she asked playfully. Raj chuckled. "You could say that." Claire laughed softly the first time that day. Anaya made her tea, offered her a blanket, and said, "Sweetheart, stay as long as you need. We've all run from something, at least once." Over the next few days, Claire stayed at the cafe, helping out with customers, slowly finding herself again. Raj stopped by every evening after his shift to check on her, always bringing flowers or pastries by accident. One evening, as the sun set outside the cafe window, Claire said, "You know, I think you took the right route that day." Raj smiled. "What do you mean?" "You didn't just drive me away from something, you drove me towards something better." He looked down modestly. "Maybe that's what we're all doing, just driving each other home." Months later, Claire opened her own small flower shop next to Anaya's cafe. She called it New Roots. A photo of Raj's yellow taxi hung on the wall with a quote underneath. "Sometimes the road you never planned to take is the one that leads you home." Every year, on the anniversary of that stormy day, Claire leaves a bouquet in the back seat of Raj's cab. White lilies, her way of saying thank you. And every year, he finds it after his last ride, smiles, and whispers to himself, "Another passenger found her way." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? I love knowing how far these stories travel. Because sometimes it's not where you're going that matters. It's who you meet along the way.